It's great to be with all of you, and I want to congratulate Administrator Jackson on her elevation to the council. Chesapeake Bay is not only our greatest natural resource, but also it's very important economic and recreational asset that we share in this mid-Atlantic area. We, of course, need to do everything in our power to restore the health of the Chesapeake Bay, this wonderful piece of God's creation. We've been able to make some, I believe, some important things to improve the way we approach this great work of restoring the health of the Chesapeake Bay. In Maryland, we've created BayStat, applying performance measurements on a watershed-by-watershed basis in each of the tributaries to the important work of reducing nitrogen, phosphorus, sediment. We've also been able to create the Chesapeake Bay 2010 Trust Fund, and we're taking action, sharing best practices, and measuring performance, changing tactics and strategies in order to speed implementation and her restoration. But I wanted to say a couple of words about Governor Kane's leadership as he completes his, I think, really transformative role in this council. Governor Kane, within 6 months of taking office back in April 2006, I suppose it's one of the advantages to having just one term as governor. You waste no time. You have to get it all done in one term. And he put in place his entire natural resources agenda. He's made land conservation a priority. Congratulations are in order, as Virginia has now conserved 384,000 acres under Governor Kane's watch. When the Bay's blue crab stock was plummeting, diving, in danger of totally imploding, Governor Kane joined forces, stepped up, and together in partnership, we made the tough decisions necessary, and now we see that blue crab population actually rebounding. It's early. We're not done yet, but it shows you what can be done. When the levels of one of the Bay's native iconic inhabitants and that natural filter, the oyster, dropped to 1% of its historic levels, we worked together, guided by science, and Governor Kane stepped up to the plate and made the right decision as we move forward, embracing the return of native oyster and aquaculture, and hopefully, this is the only time I'll acknowledge that Virginia is better at something than Maryland. We'll hopefully catch up with your lead on aquaculture, and or in fact trying to follow your lead on that score. But probably the most important thing that Governor Kane did for us was to bring about the consensus necessary so that we would embrace these milestones, not in a 20-year period of time, but to do it in a 2-year period of time. The things get watched are the things that get done, but only if there's a deadline for getting them done. And if the deadline's 20 years from now, you know what, none of us can guarantee that we're going to be around to be accountable for that deadline. A lot of times when you hear people in elective office say we need to do these things to hold ourselves accountable, the natural intuition, our gut instinct is to think that the elected officials are saying to hold ourselves, the individual 5 of us, are accountable. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about holding us accountable. If we don't have milestones and deadlines, there's no way the public can become more informed about whether what we're doing is working, whether what we're doing needs to be changed so it can work better, or whether what we're doing needs to be accelerated so that we can actually hit our goals. And that was not an easy thing. It would not have happened were it not for this man's honesty, his integrity, his courage, his sincerity in bringing 5 states together to embrace 2-year milestones. And Tim, I think that, Governor, I think that is a legacy that is something that is that you can always be very, very proud of, provided all of us together follow up on that and actually make these deadlines and accomplish what we need to accomplish. We know we have a lot of work ahead of us. We know that by working together we can achieve, it's only by working together and only by being direct, by being open, by being honest, by being guided by the science, with openness, transparency, and performance measures on a scale never before attempted in the cleanup of the Bay, that we can actually accomplish this great work. Before I introduce our next speaker, who is State Delegate John Cosgrove, who's the chair of the Chesapeake Bay Commission, I do want to compliment and congratulate EPA Administrator Lisa Jackson, who always takes my calls whenever people have questions in Maryland looking for clarification, and I can pick up the phone and call you, and that's very, very important to all of us. I appreciate your honesty, your forthrightness, and your leadership and your willingness to be accessible, which is a part of what leadership's about. But I have a present for our outgoing Chesapeake Executive Council Chairman, Governor Kane. This is a Hohner harmonica. It's specially engraved. It's a special 20th Marine Band, and it is engraved Governor Tim Kane, Chesapeake Executive Council Chairman, and you'll be glad to know that it's in the key of C, for courage and consensus.